We're here in Muncie, Indiana, Allied One Solutions, working for veterans. And I'm going to introduce you to Wes, the guy that's running the show. But first, I want to show you some of this stuff that a person sees. I guess this is a group of people that he led. Some of the medals, and there's Wes. And who's this guy up here, Wes? Who's that guy?
That's Lieutenant General Hal Moore.
Okay.
We were soldiers once.
Oh, awesome. There he is, skydiving. The Legion of Merit. What is that? What is that award? It's an award, right?
That's for my 27 years of service to the state and the country. So
Awesome.
something to be proud of.
Well, this is Wes Russell. Wes is a guy that I met many years ago, and had the pleasure of working with over the last year, specifically with the Lifeline program. And I shared with Wes the opportunity to be able to serve veterans, and I wanted him to take it from there. Wes, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you see the Lifeline program and how it can benefit.
Sure, thanks. Well, as Rowdy mentioned, I did serve in the military for 27 years. Was an enlisted man, came up through the ranks, retired as a lieutenant colonel, did 4 tours of combat, was an infantry officer, so had the opportunity to lead thousands of America's finest. And to this day, I still consider myself a soldier, and I still enjoy taking care of soldiers. Anyways, that's really how I got involved with Lifeline. Rowdy came to me just about a year ago and was explaining to me the Lifeline program and how it had recently changed to include the veterans that were receiving VA pensions and survivor benefits. So after a few hours of discussion with him, he actually could see my heart to help veterans, and he asked me to come on board and help. And I decided to do so, and throughout these past 12 months, I will tell you that it's been a journey, an enjoyable journey, sometimes frustrating, yet it is a journey that has allowed me and others to continue to help veterans. The Lifeline program, specifically the part that helps military veterans, has been a life-changing opportunity, and sometimes life-saving for some of these soldiers, sailors, Marines who suffer from PTSD. PTSD is a subject very dear and near to me, as I suffer from it. As I mentioned, 4 tours of combat, and there are days that are very difficult, and sometimes you just want to reach out and talk to a friend. And for those of us who are financially able to afford, a cell phone and things like that, it makes it much easier for us to reach out to those who may not be nearby. But for the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who don't have that luxury, this program that provides them with that phone, quite frankly, could save their lives. It gives them the ability to stay in touch with their counselors, their doctors, their medical professionals, and most importantly, their friends and family in difficult times. So it is something dear and near to my heart, and I am thankful that I've had this opportunity to be able to provide that to the numerous soldiers and sailors over the past year.
So over the past year, you have kind of tiptoed through the tulips, so to speak, for a number of reasons. Number one, the security to know for sure that the program is going to be supported, because you've spent 27 years of your life building a reputation within the military, within the ranks. You didn't many times you've questioned me whether or not it's legitimate or not, whether or not the company is going to support us. So over the past 12 months, you've been able to reach out to some of your colleagues, some of your comrades, and these different organizations like the VFWs and American Legions. How has it been received by them?
Well, it's been received very well. Especially, it's beneficial to have someone like myself be able to come in there and introduce the program. Again, I'm a veteran of 27 years, so they immediately understand that the safety and welfare of our veterans is uppermost in my mind, so they can trust me.
Yeah, I've tried to talk to veterans myself, and it doesn't hold an ounce of credibility relative to you. So we went to American Legion down in Knightstown, and the colonel was like a legend almost, but he had instant rapport with these old veterans from Vietnam, from Korea, from World War II. I think there was a guy that came there,
right.
And even from Iraq. So the credibility that you bring to the table, that we can't just be replicated. No businessman like myself can do it. Only people that have served like you've served that have been able to do what you're doing. So you've built a little bit of credibility and a little bit of momentum, only for it to be taken away from us because the program's changed again. So what we're looking for, what are you looking for in somebody that's going to help support the program that we want to do?
Well, to the best of their ability. I understand that any government program is, you need to be flexible, if not fluid. But what I'm looking for is someone who will commit to providing that service to the veteran, whether it be a phone or SIM card, but most of all, commit themselves to providing that service. If they say they're going to provide it, then provide that service. When I go in there, that's what I am telling them we are going to provide them with, is a service. These are not your typical street corners. We don't work on the street corners. We go into the veterans organizations, the American Legions, Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Disabled American Veterans, and numerous other.
How about the homes?
We also go into they call it soldiers and sailors homes, safe havens. We actually go into the VA hospitals. These are all soldiers who are going through programs that, quite frankly, they can't afford the funds. So even though they're veterans, they may qualify under other programs. But these people that allow me entrance into these, they need to know that I'm there for the interest of the veteran. And that's really what this is about. It's not about making the money. It's about providing this service. Again, a life-changing, life-saving service to them.
Awesome. So again, to close up, I guess, the Lifeline program, as we have used it before, is extremely beneficial to many veterans out there. Some of them don't need it financially. However, I noticed that there were some that didn't need it, but they saw that they were appreciated. Is that right?
Absolutely. First of all, let me just say the veterans organizations, it's been a positive feedback. In fact, they are putting our company on the websites, explaining our program and how they can go about getting the veterans phones. Let me share a quick story. Had a lady call and talk about a veteran who was living next door to her in a vacant house, and he was using a space heater that was being ran by a car battery, and they had blankets up to close off one room, and he was in there literally staying alive with just that. We were able to provide him with a phone that allowed him to be able to stay in contact with neighbors to let them know that he's okay. Veterans are very prideful. It's not always a positive attribute to have, but they are very prideful and they don't seek out help. But when they know that other veterans are there to help them and want to lend them a hand, they're more likely to accept help from a fellow veteran.
That's awesome. So we're going to bring the phones to places that they feel comfortable going, not the street corner. We're going to bring phone service to people, to places like the American Legions, the VFWs, places that they feel at home, around other men that have served just like they have, men and women.
Absolutely. We take it to them, and then really what has happened really in the last 90 days with us is we've seen that these veterans now have their phones. They go to a morning breakfast with their fellow veterans or a luncheon that they may meet once a month, and they talk about the phone that they received, and we're seeing them come in just through word of mouth.
Let's talk about numbers. Just in Indiana, how many veterans are there that, based on their situation, they're receiving some kind of pension from the government? How many in Indiana do you think are qualified just in Indiana alone?
There's 90,000 that actually receive a VA compensation or pension or survivor benefit.
90,000 just in Indiana.
Right. I will tell you that we originally looked to focus on those 90,000, but as I go out, I'm finding that over half of those veterans qualify because they're on food stamps or they're low income or something like that. So the veterans allow us to make contact with them. And again, veterans are very prideful. they're not going to go to the street corner,
Yeah, yeah.
even if they need the help.
So out of in the country, do you have any idea the number of veterans just in the United States alone that maybe might qualify for this? Based on the numbers in Indiana, 90,000. My guess is there's 500,000 at least across the country
Oh,
that.
yeah. It's over 1 million.
Over 1 million.
In the 54 states and territories.
So, and the cool thing about this that I see is it's a niche of people that have been underserved and over deserving of our service. So, do you think that you could network with other leaders within the veterans organizations, the commanders? You told me about a person that was the commander of Indiana, I think, that what did she say?
Well,
about,
when we were down at Knightstown, at the American Legion in Knightstown, Indiana, Command Sergeant Major retired Lori Selmer, who worked with me when I was a brand new second lieutenant. Actually, she is the regional commander. So she has 33 veteran American Legion posts just in East Central Indiana. And she sent that email out about our program, and I had
to all the American Legions.
yeah, I had over 50 phone calls in the next 3 days just from that email.
And just to be clear, Knightstown
Knightstown
is like 3,000, 4,000 people in
If
East
that,
Central
right.
Indiana.
Exactly.
So the point is that there's commanders, there's high brass within the military across the country that would love to be able to serve their people. They just don't know how. And if we can get the word out to them, what we're looking for is a company that will help support that program so that, Wes, you're not going and telling people you're going to do something and then not having a company to fulfill it. Right. So the purpose of this video is to talk to you as a carrier about how you guys can support a program that's worthy and a group of people that are worthy of the phones. And I think the original intent for the phone service, is to help those that are in need and also that are deserving.
Well, absolutely. Here's the bottom line. There are millions of veterans and thousands that could benefit from this. If you go and you approach this as you want to help veterans, those organizations will welcome you. If you approach it as you just want the dollar, they're not going to. And hopefully you can see through this video that my intent is to help veterans. And I hope that you as a carrier would want to also.
Thanks for your time, Wes.
Thanks.
Let's see what we can do.